Chapter 13, New Faces and Conflicting Hearts. The school had barely recovered from the shocking incident with Landon-chan's death, and the tension in the air was palpable. Delaynie-kun had never felt more overwhelmed, yet life at the school seemed to continue as normal. At least, as normal as it could be in a world full of extraordinary abilities. That morning, Deya-sensei gathered the class in the auditorium. As the students filed in, murmurs of curiosity spread. Everyone had heard the rumors, but no one was quite sure what to expect. Deya-sensei stepped onto the stage, his expression calm but serious. "Class, I'd like to introduce you to someone who will be overseeing the future of this school. The new principal will be joining us starting today. Please welcome America-sensei." The doors to the auditorium swung open, and in strode a woman with an unmistakable air of confidence. She was tall, with short, platinum blonde hair and an almost otherworldly energy about her. Her clothes were professional, but with a flair that screamed modern millennial. A rainbow pin was visible on her lapel, marking her as proudly and openly lesbian. "Hey there, kids," America-sensei greeted with a casual wave. "I'm your new principal. You can just call me America-sensei. No need for anything formal. We're all family here. Let's make sure we keep things fun, safe, and productive. After all, you're the next generation of heroes, right?" The class stared at her in stunned silence before a few of the braver students chuckled. "She's different," Travis-kun whispered to Livvy-san, who simply nodded, a bemused smile tugging at her lips. America-sensei grinned. "I know what you're thinking, but don't worry, I'll get you all in shape for what's to come, and we'll have a blast doing it." Gabi-san's arrival. After America-sensei finished her brief introduction, Deya-sensei stepped back up to the front. "Now, class, there's one more important guest I'd like you to meet today." The door to the auditorium opened again, and a woman walked in who commanded attention in a way that few people did. She was tall and imposing, with long jet-black hair and piercing violet eyes. Her presence radiated power, a strength that was almost palpable. She wore a formal suit, decorated with various insignia denoting her rank as an SS, super powerful. She exuded an aura of someone who was not just a fighter, but a leader. "Everyone," Deya-sensei said, his voice tinged with respect, "this is Gabi-san. She is a famous SS rank, known for her incredible abilities and achievements. She's here today with an important mission." Gabi-san gave a small nod, her eyes sweeping across the class. "I've been following your progress, Delaynie-kun," she said, locking her gaze onto him. "Your healing power is extraordinary, but what happened with Landon-chan proves that you're barely scratching the surface of what you can do. I want to help you unlock your true potential." The students exchanged wary looks. Delaynie felt a knot form in his stomach. "What do you mean?" he asked, his voice tight with unease. Gabi-san's smile was both warm and intense. "I've seen your potential, Delaynie-kun, but the power inside you isn't something you can control easily. You'll need someone to guide you, someone who has experience with powers as volatile as yours. I'd like you to join me to help me take down the Demon King and protect the world. I'll also help you learn to control your abilities so that you never have to worry about hurting someone again." Her words hung in the air, heavy with implication. She wasn't just offering help, she was extending an invitation to join her on a mission that would shape the future of the world. "But," Delaynie hesitated, his mind racing. "Why me?" Gabi-san's violet eyes softened for a moment, and she took a step closer to him. "Because you're special, Delaynie-kun, and because I believe in you." Chapter 15, Conflicting Hearts. Later that afternoon, the students gathered in the courtyard to discuss the news of Gabi-san's visit. The atmosphere was tense as Emma-chan, Ariel-senpai, and Lilli-senpai all found themselves in a heated discussion. "I still don't get it," Emma-chan grumbled, crossing her arms. "Why would Delaynie-kun need her help? He's already the strongest person here. He doesn't need some SS rank to babysit him." Ariel-senpai, who had been standing quietly nearby, spoke up. "Emma-chan, don't be so naive. Delaynie-kun's power is unpredictable. He could hurt someone again if he doesn't learn to control it. We all saw what happened with Landon-chan." Emma-chan glared at Ariel. "That's not the point, Ariel-senpai. He doesn't need to go off with some stranger." "Well, someone needs to keep him in check," Lilli-senpai said with a smirk, eyeing Emma. "I'm just saying, Delaynie-kun is mine to look after. I'm the one who understands him best. And besides," she added, her voice softening just slightly, "he has something special. Something I don't want anyone else to take away." Ariel-senpai's eyes narrowed. "What exactly do you mean by that, Lilli-senpai?" Lilli-senpai only smiled and shrugged, turning her attention back to Delaynie, who was standing a few feet away, trying to process everything. "We'll see," she said cryptically. Chapter C. Unexpected Confessions. As the arguments continued, Hailey-senpai found herself standing in the corner, quietly watching Ariel-senpai. She chewed on her lip, her thoughts racing. There was something about Ariel that had always drawn her in. The way Ariel seemed to light up a room with her presence, her graceful movements, and her intelligence, it was magnetic. But Ariel was so focused on Delaynie-kun that she barely noticed the way Hailey's gaze lingered on her. Hailey sighed, rubbing the back of her neck nervously. "This is stupid," she muttered to herself. "Why does it always have to be this way? Why can't I just—" She was interrupted by Travis-kun, who had been quietly standing beside her. "You know, you don't have to get caught up in all that. Love triangles are just a mess." Hailey turned to him, blinking in surprise. "What do you mean?" Travis-kun gave her a sideways glance, his usual relaxed expression still in place. "You've got a thing for Ariel, don't you?" Hailey froze, her cheeks flushing. "What? No. You don't have to deny it, Travis-kun said with a smirk. I see the way you look at her, but hey, just take it easy. No need to rush things. Hailey glared at him, but there was no real heat in it. You're the worst. Travis-kun only laughed, throwing an arm around her shoulders. Yeah, but I'm still your friend, right? Hailey couldn't help but laugh. Yeah, you are. Chapter 17, The Demon King's Shadow. As the days passed, Delaynie-kun struggled with the decision of whether to accept Gabi-san's offer. Her presence loomed over him like a shadow, both enticing and frightening. He knew his powers were dangerous, and the idea of gaining control over them was tempting. But at the same time, something about Gabi-san's gaze unsettled him. There was an intensity in her that felt personal. He found himself caught between the people who cared for him, Emma-chan, Ariel-senpai, Lilli-senpai, and even Hailey-senpai, and the powerful SS rank woman who promised to help him control his power. But as the shadows of the Demon King loomed closer, Delaynie-kun knew that his choices could no longer be delayed. The journey ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear. The bonds he had formed with his friends would be tested like never before. Chapter 18. The classroom was unusually quiet that morning. The events of the last few days had weighed heavily on everyone, and even Emma-chan, who usually found comfort in talking about her favorite dogs, was unusually subdued. Livvy-san noticed immediately. She wasn't the best at reading people, but when it came to her twin, she didn't miss a thing. Emma-chan, Livvy-san whispered during a lull in Deya-sensei's lecture. Are you okay? Emma-chan hesitated, staring down at her desk. I'm fine, she said softly, but her tone betrayed her. Livvy-san frowned. You're not fine. Talk to me. The words came out harsher than she intended, but that was just Livvy-san's way. She wasn't good at being soft, but Emma-chan understood. They were twins, after all. Emma-chan sighed, her shoulders slumping. It's just everything. Landon-chan's gone. Delaynie-kun almost lost control, and now Gabi-san is here, acting like Delaynie-kun's some kind of chosen one. It's scary, Livvy-san. What if we're not enough? What if we can't protect him or ourselves? Livvy-san's eyes softened. She reached over and grabbed Emma-chan's hand. You don't have to protect everyone, you know. That's not your job. You're my twin, Emma-chan. I've got your back no matter what, and if things get too crazy, we'll face it together. Deal? Emma-chan's eyes filled with tears. Livvy-san, I don't deserve you. Livvy-san smirked, squeezing her hand. Damn right you don't. The tension broke, and Emma-chan laughed through her tears, hugging her sister tightly. Their bond was unbreakable, a light in the darkness that surrounded them. Chapter 19, Hailey-senpai's Shadow. The emotional atmosphere in the classroom was heavy, and for once, Hailey-senpai wasn't cracking jokes or flexing her muscles for attention. Instead, she sat silently at her desk, her usual bright demeanor replaced by something cold and unrecognizable. Hey, Hailey-senpai, Travis-kun said, leaning over. You okay? Hailey didn't respond immediately. When she finally looked up, her eyes were shadowed, her jaw tight. You all think this is just some game, don't you? She said, her voice low and biting, arguing over who gets Delaynie-kun, crying about what might happen. Do you even realize what's coming for us? What we're up against? The room fell silent. Hailey stood, her muscles tensing as if she were ready for a fight. Her usual smile was gone, replaced by a grim expression that sent chills through the room. You think the Demon King is going to care about your feelings? About your petty little crushes? Get real. People are going to die. More people, just like Landon-chan. And if you're not ready for that, you're already dead. Her words hung in the air like a storm cloud. For the first time, the class saw Hailey-senpai not as the class clown, but as the warrior she truly was. The strength in her voice, in her body, was undeniable. She sat back down without another word, leaving the class in stunned silence. Chapter 20, A Private Moment. After class, Deya-sensei called Delaynie-kun to stay behind. The room was quiet as the other students filed out, leaving the two of them alone. Delaynie-kun, Deya-sensei began, his voice soft. Are you all right? Delaynie hesitated, unsure how to answer. I don't know, Deya-sensei. Everything feels like it's spinning out of control. Deya-sensei stepped closer, his gaze gentle but intense. You're carrying a heavy burden, Delaynie-kun. It's okay to feel overwhelmed, but you don't have to face it alone. Delaynie looked up at him, his heart racing. There was something about Deya-sensei's presence that was comforting and disarming all at once. But what if I hurt someone again? What if I lose control? Deya-sensei reached out, placing a hand on Delaney's shoulder. Then we'll figure it out together. I believe in you, Delaynie-kun. You're stronger than you think. For a moment, they just stood there, the weight of the world slipping away as Delaynie felt the warmth of Deya-sensei's hand. His face flushed, and he looked away, embarrassed by the sudden rush of emotion. Deya-sensei, he murmured, barely audible. Yes, Delaynie-kun? Delaynie took a deep breath, his heart pounding. Thank you. Deya-sensei smiled, his eyes softening. You're welcome. Now go. The others are waiting for you. Chapter 21, Gabi-san versus Hailey-senpai. As Delaynie-kun left the classroom, the sound of an explosion rocked the building. He ran to the window and saw two figures clashing in the courtyard below. One was Gabi-san, her violet eyes blazing with power. The other was someone unfamiliar, Hailey-senpai, the Demon King's best friend. Hailey-senpai was tall and imposing, her crimson hair flowing like fire as she wielded a massive dark blade. Her aura was suffocating, a palpable reminder of the Demon King's strength. Gabi-san! Delaynie shouted, but she didn't look up. You're not ready for this fight, Delaynie-kun, she yelled back, her voice filled with urgency. Stay back. Kale-senpai smirked, her voice dripping with malice. So this is the famous Gabi-san. I was expecting more of a challenge. Careful what you wish for, Gabi shot back, unleashing a torrent of energy that illuminated the courtyard. The two clashed with a force that shook the ground, their powers lighting up the sky like fireworks. Delaynie watched in awe and terror, torn between wanting to help and knowing he wasn't ready. Who is she? He whispered to himself, his fist clenching. She's the Demon King's right hand, Deya-sensei said, appearing beside him. And she's here for you, Delaynie-kun. Delaynie turned to his teacher, his heart sinking. For me? Deya-sensei nodded, his expression grave. You're more important than you realize, and the Demon King knows it.